Over a year ago, I said that if the video received enough positive feedback, I would bring the story back. I'm sad to say I grew busy, other stories rushing through my head, and to a degree, I forgot about it. I'm sorry. But as I read through comments, I continued over and over again to see people talking about this series, how much they loved it, and how much they needed for it to continue. So as I was cleaning house, tying up loose ends, and working on stories I never finished, I found this once again. Rewatching it, I realized I left it quite open. For some time, I've been diving so deep into the metaplots I've been telling that I feel like I've been forgetting just how great the simple stories were. The ones not connected to some big plan or plotline. Just a simple Tsukuyomi from the Sharingan of yours truly. I feel like it would be a good idea to return to the old stomping grounds for a little while. This story has got to be one of my favorites, and while I say that about so many videos that we post here, it's not a lie. The videos that dive into emotion and shine a light on some of the greater issues of our society as a whole really do help me enjoy the stories I tell. Not that I would wish to turn these stories into a soapbox, heaven forbid. But in staying true to Naruto, we must realize that it too, as well as every good story, had a moral that serves as a theme, and here that theme is love. As I work on this video, the world is currently in unrest. Protests, wars, all sorts of ways people are suffering. A wise person once told me not to let my heart be troubled over these things, and I try not to, but when one sees suffering, how can you not? Perhaps that's how it's supposed to be though, and perhaps that's something we can all relate to in some way. This has been a pretty long opening, and I don't want to hold you any longer, but just as a way to say I remember what the theme of this video series is. I feel as though this current day and age is the perfect time and place for a story just like this. So here's to the hopes of our world and its future. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Dust shot up into the air as Naruto fell on his rear end. Scars. His hands, knuckles, wrists, each covered in a scar. Not because of physical turmoil, but each one a reminder of his pains. Standing above him, his fist pressed out, was Sasuke. His hands were not scarred. One could not measure the pain in Sasuke's heart by the physical, but just because you couldn't see it on his person didn't mean it wasn't there. Looking into his eyes, one could see a pain subtle within. Intensity was the best thing to say about those eyes, like a fire burning in a hurricane. The same gaze as a man staring at a burning village, the smell of corpses on fire, the stench of blood. Unsettling, yet resolve existed within those eyes that declared it would survive. That was the scar Sasuke displayed. A gaze, eyes filled with equal parts fear and anger. Naruto, rubbing his cheek as he sat there, looked as though he might soon cry. It was then that the fist that struck him turned into an open hand. Extending down to Naruto, Naruto took it and pulled him from the dirt. "Do you understand what you did wrong there?" Sasuke asked. Naruto nodded. "I rushed headlong into my strikes." Sasuke nodded. In fighting, your emotions can be a powerful tool. It's okay to have emotions in a fight, but it's not okay to let your emotions have you. A fight is all about control, maintaining control of yourself and gaining control of the opponent. In that way, every attack must be measured. "You didn't seem quite controlled when you were about to stab Butch with that pencil," Naruto said, pointing out Sasuke's own lack of control. Sasuke felt anger bubbling up in his chest, but he let it go. Frankly, Naruto was right. Emotional control is an ongoing battle. That's why I don't consider myself a master of combat yet, but that doesn't make my words any less true. Naruto offered a nod in understanding. Yeah. Sakura sat on a bench across from the two boys, watching them spar. These two had been doing it off and on for the past few days. Naruto had gone from blindly flinging his arms around while his head was angled down to a proper square stance. But the emotional control in the heat of battle was hard to manage, which is why practice like this was necessary. It took more than just knowing how to fight to win. They needed to make it muscle memory, so that it was something that could be done without even thinking. Still, Sakura was pleased to see that Sasuke was seemingly warming up to Naruto and herself. They began to set up for another spar. "Remember the things I taught you. Remember how control works. Try to take control. Use my own attacks against me. If someone can't control their own emotions, that gives you a window to control it for them. Now, fight." Sasuke drew closer to Naruto. Naruto continued to circle Sasuke, keeping a healthy distance, keeping his breathing calm. Sasuke would quickly close the gap, and though Naruto's first instinct was to panic, he got a grip and said no. Instead, he stood resolute. He could either panic and get hurt, or make progress and still get hurt. If he was to be hurt either way, he'd like to at least gain control of the situation. As Sasuke's fist came in, Naruto grabbed it as opposed to parrying it. He used Sasuke's momentum as well as his own body weight to pull Sasuke forward into his foot and put him on the ground. This was what Sasuke was trying to teach him. Control. Control was everything. When you had control, you were the master. And when others were in a position like this, unless they had some sick countermove, they were at your mercy. Good, Sasuke said through a strained voice. Naruto let Sasuke up. That's enough for now, as he dusted himself off. Sakura stood and walked over to them. You two ready to go? She asked. They nodded. Grabbing their water bottles and other things, they got ready to head back to the school and take a quick shower and change into some different clothes. At least Naruto and Sasuke would. Sakura hadn't really done anything, so she didn't even have to change. They were going to go out for dinner tonight. Sasuke originally didn't want to, but when she mentioned that the restaurant they were going to had the most exquisite onigiri, he couldn't help but begrudgingly join them. But as they were walking back, they realized that they weren't alone on this field. There was another boy standing there. At first, they couldn't tell who it was because they were standing, their back against them. But after a couple more moments, Sakura spoke. Oh, it's Lee. He's always out here, Naruto said. How are you doing, Lee? Sakura asked. He didn't respond and kept striking the post. Sakura began to feel awkward. She was preparing to leave him be. Well, see you around. She was stopped by Naruto's hand. His gaze locked on Lee with suspicion and a slight tinge of concern. What's wrong? Sakura asked. His knuckles. Sakura looked back at Lee and noticed as he pulled his hand back that they were covered in blood. Lee? She called back, but as his punches slowed and his breathing quickened, he kept striking. Lee! Sakura called out to get his attention. He slowed to a stop. Sakura hesitated again before speaking. Are you all right? Suddenly, Lee's feet went out from under him as he fell to his knees. Falling forward, his face smacked the pole before rolling to the side. Sasuke's hand raised for a second in confusion as Naruto's eyes widened. Sakura called out to him, Lee! She ran over and rolled him on his back. Lee's eyes were rolled up into his head, yet still partially open. On top of all of this, his body was still jerking a bit. It almost seemed like a seizure in some aspects. What it really was, Sakura didn't know, but she knew he needed a doctor, now. Naruto, call a doctor! Naruto began fumbling through his bag for a cell phone. Pulling one out, he dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? The voice on the other end asked. We have a student at Konoha Ninja Academy that just collapsed on the field. Are they breathing? The voice asked. Yeah, but it sounds bad. Their body's jerking, and they're not responsive to our voices. We need someone out here, now. Understood. Paramedics are on the way. Naruto hung up the phone. A few moments passed before the paramedic team showed up and loaded Lee up onto a stretcher and began to take him off to Konoha General. The sight had soured the move, and even now as they sat at the restaurant eating, few of them spoke. Sakura didn't know Lee very well. The one thing that was known about him is that he was a tryhard and that he was only ever spinning his wheels in the mud. No matter what he tried, he wasn't making any real progress. Despite that, Sakura didn't know how bad it was until today. Sasuke was eating his onigiri. To be honest, he didn't really talk much unless he was asked. Naruto, on the other hand, was usually a regular chatty Cathy, but right now his arms were resting behind his head as he reclined in the chair. He was looking out the window, daydreaming as it seemed so often he did. But Sakura could tell that it was more than absent-mindedness. While indeed he was elsewhere in his thoughts, she could tell just by looking at him that he was still aware. Something had just taken over his thought trains. Sakura knew immediately what he was thinking about. She spoke. You're thinking about Lee, aren't you? She asked. Sasuke, still eating his onigiri, looked over at Naruto for a second, hinting at a slight interest to hear the answer, though it seemed to be immediately overtaken by a need for another bite of rice ball. Naruto spoke. I keep thinking about him, how he was just laying there on the ground. Why did he do that? He probably worked himself too hard, Sasuke said as he strained to swallow another bite, trying to force it down with a little green tea. Naruto continued to think about it. Why? The next day at school, the three of them took their seats together. At first, Sasuke had resisted, but eventually they convinced him to let them sit by him. After all, What's worse, sitting with us or sitting with people you don't know? Sakura asked. Sasuke couldn't deny it. Sakura had a point. Anyone else who sat with him tended to be overreaching girls who were just trying to impress him and win affection. At least Naruto and Sakura were cool about it. Eventually, Rock Lee snuck into class, taking his seat away from everyone. His hands were wrapped up, and he still possessed blood on his knuckles. He wasn't the only one coming back to class that day either. Butch was as well. Walking past the trio, Sasuke kept his gaze on Butch out of the corner of his eye. Sakura watched Butch come back as well, but Naruto just ignored him. That being said, Butch did not stop to say or do anything. Not this time. Probably never again. Torturing classmates was fun and all, but the moment he saw that pencil getting ready to rob sight from his eye, he realized it wasn't all fun and games anymore. And so he took his seat in the back and said nothing to anyone. Not a word. Naruto returned his gaze to Lee as class finally began. This made Sakura smile a bit. He's becoming aware, she said within herself. It's affecting him now too. Despite knowing Lee was probably in a horrible state, it made her ecstatic to know that Naruto was finally understanding the desire to help others. As class came to an end and lunch rolled around, Lee gathered his things and began to leave the classroom. Everyone else gathered their things too. As they stepped into the cafeteria, Sakura spoke to Naruto. I couldn't help but notice that you were staring at Lee today, she said. He seems lonely, Naruto replied, his gaze looking back at Lee, who was sitting at a table alone. Sakura noticed it too. Why don't you go say something to him? Naruto shook his head. Oh no, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't even know what to say. Sakura put her hand on Naruto's, drawing his attention. Don't be afraid, Naruto. That pull in your heart you feel, it's drawing you toward him for a reason. You care. You'll know what to say. Just throw caution to the wind. What if I say something wrong and embarrass myself, or alienate myself from him, he said with genuine concern. Sakura kissed his forehead and pulled him into an embrace. Those feelings tell you that you actually care, Naruto, that you want to help him. We can't always control how people react to us, but we can always offer a hand to those in need. And if they need us, they can always take that hand. Just give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Naruto looked back over for a second. He felt a bit cold, like his muscles were stiffening. His toes felt like they were freezing. Now he understood where the term getting cold feet came from. But all the same, he felt as though if he didn't do something now, his conscience wouldn't let him hear the end of it. And so, he slowly closed his lunchbox and stood. He looked like he was about to walk, but had yet to move. He was still nervous. Sakura took his hand in hers and rubbed it tightly between her two palms. A little extra warmth to warm those feet, she said with a smile. Naruto looked back. Do you ever feel like this? He asked. Sakura smiled. I feel like this every time. Naruto nodded. Sometimes doing the right thing is hard. Yes, but all the things worth doing tend to be. Just try your best. If it doesn't work out, then it wasn't meant to be. Do what you can and just know that I'm proud of you, okay? Naruto swallowed and began to walk toward Lee. All the while, Sasuke watched this unfold from his seat. As Naruto began to walk, Sakura watched him with a look that Sasuke had only ever seen from a mother. Why do you guys do this? He asked. Do what? She asked, her gaze and demeanor unchanging. You know, this. Care. Is that unusual? She asked as she looked towards Sasuke. He shrugged. Yeah, kinda. Nobody cares in this world. So why do you guys care? Sakura looked down at her lunch with a smile. Because everyone deserves it. Love is what we're called to do. Loving your neighbor as yourself. You know, the golden rule. It's gold for a reason. Sasuke took another bite from his lunch. Seems like a lot of trouble. So much drama. Don't you ever get tired of it? Sakura nodded. It can be hard sometimes. And there does come a point where you feel overwhelmed. But that shouldn't slow you down. After all, if you're tired of dealing with someone's circumstances, how much more must that person be tired of living through it? Sasuke was trying to wrap his head around this, around Sakura and Naruto, around their whole crusade for kindness. Sasuke continued to think about it. What drove you to me? He asked. You two really were following me around. I know we've talked about this before, but why did it matter to you that I had no friends when I never wanted any? Why did you feel the need to insert yourselves into my life when I tried so hard to push you out of it? Sakura smiled. We pushed in because even if you didn't want it, you needed it. You have every reason to not want friends, but you can't give up. You were betrayed, hurt, and that left a scar on you deeper than any blade could ever make. But that shouldn't make you stop searching for love, even if you really want to. Humans require many things to survive, but among the greatest things we need is love. Love, even if it's a concept without a physical form, is no less required for our ability to survive than food, air, and water. She reached out across the table and took his hand. Love can cause pain, and some people feel dissuaded by it. In the same way that food may cause vomiting if improperly prepared and cause one to lose appetite. But all the same, if we stop eating, if we stop trying to find love, we'll starve. So if you ask me why I wanted to help you, it was because you needed it. That's why. Sasuke's expression, though he had yet to know it, had shifted. Normally a brick wall of stoicism, Sasuke's face displayed that the words she said had cut him deeper than any kunai ever had. I don't know if I can ever trust love again. I died that day in the compound. I may walk now, but who I was and who I've become, it's a hollow shell. Sakura looked down at Sasuke's hands. She ran her thumb over his, offering affection with nothing more than the print of her finger. Even if you're hollow now, drained of everything that once gave you life, you can be filled again. It's not over for you. You just need to know where to look. At the other table, Lee sat there with his meal. Highly nutritious, filled with protein and other healthy things, including the proper levels of carbs. It was then that a lunchbox was sat down upon the table. "May I join you?" Naruto asked. Lee looked up with his big eyes. "Of course. There's enough room at this table for everyone." Naruto sat down. As he sat there for a moment, Naruto looked at his own hands and then at Lee's bandaged ones. Lee saw it and followed Naruto's gaze back to his own. "I see you have many scars on your knuckles," Lee said. "You must have trained very hard in your life. You must be very strong." Naruto wasn't sure what to say about that, but realizing the emotional turmoil he had faced in his life and the way Sakura had helped him become what he was now, he nodded. "I guess I have." "How much can you lift?" Lee asked. "Lift? The strength I was speaking of wasn't physical." Lee was quiet for a moment. There was so much awkwardness in the air now. I'm probably weirding you out," Naruto said as he stood and closed his lunchbox. "I should go." "Wait," Lee interjected. "Stay." Naruto sat back down. Lee then began to speak. "Yesterday I was training and blacked out. I normally wake up at night and just walk home, but yeah." "You do that often?" Naruto asked in shock. Lee didn't quite know how to respond, so he simply continued what he was saying. "Yesterday, though, I woke up in the hospital. That means someone called them to pick me up. That was you, wasn't it?" Naruto nodded. "You fell over and you weren't doing well. Your breathing and movements were sporadic. We were afraid for your safety." "Thank you very much," Lee said, offering a bow of respect that had his forehead hit the table, a thud so deep that the entire thing vibrated. Naruto was shocked by this. You don't have to do that," he said. Lee raised his head. "You have my eternal gratitude, Naruto. If ever you are in need, do not hesitate to contact me, and I will be there in a moment's notice." Naruto waved it off. That's okay. I just came over to talk to you because I've been worried." "You are worried for me?" Naruto nodded. Lee smiled brightly. "You need not do that. I am able to take care of myself. I am a hard worker, you see." "I can see that, but maybe you work too hard?" Lee's demeanor shifted to one of questioning as his head cocked to the side. Everything about this boy was extra intense, from his words to his actions to the way he carried himself. Everything. "You think I work too hard?" Naruto nodded. "I understand work ethic, but don't you think you're pushing yourself too hard?" "How do you mean?" Lee asked. "Well, for instance, you just admitted to me that you work so hard that you black out, and that's dangerous." "I'm sorry if I worried you with my words. I am merely doing the things that I do." "But why do you have to do it that way?" Naruto asked. "Because if one is to work, then they should give everything they have. That's what the world deserves." "But that's not good." Lee's smile seemed to fade. "It is good. If I am to be a shinobi, then I must get used to giving my all. If I don't, then how could I call myself a ninja? How will you become a ninja if you die during training?" Lee seemed to grow a bit tired of this conversation, so he closed his lunchbox. Standing up, he spoke. "I think maybe I have had enough to eat." He offered a bit of a bow to Naruto. "Thank you very much for helping me yesterday. It means very much to me." Lee then walked away. Naruto face planted into the table. Sakura, from the distance, spoke. "Uh-oh, that doesn't look good." She and Sasuke gathered their things and walked over. "I bombed so hard, Sakura-chan," Naruto said, his voice still muffled by the table. "I bombed so hard." Sakura sat down beside him and put her hand on his shoulder. "It's okay. You tried your best." Sakura pat his shoulder. He began to explain to her what he said to Lee. Sakura listened and nodded. "It sounds like you came across accusatory. accusatory, but I was trying to help. I know, Naruto, but there's a process. A way to speak with people that helps them understand where you're coming from. I knew I shouldn't do this. I don't even have that much experience talking to people anyway. How could I ever do what you do? I'm just an idiot. Sakura lifted Naruto up and hugged him. You are not an idiot. You just need to keep working on it. What's the play now though? Sasuke asked. Are you gonna talk to him again? Naruto's gonna see this through. What? Naruto questioned. I'll just mess it up again. How do you expect me to do that? Sakura looked at Naruto. You're not gonna mess it up, and I'm gonna help you. And so, as school let out, Sakura took Naruto and Sasuke to her home, where she introduced them to her parents. They all shared a wonderful meal. After that, she took them up to her room, where she sat pillows out on the floor. What are we doing? Naruto asked. Welcome, students, to Sakura's school of how not to fail at being a kind and friendly person. Needs a shorter name, Naruto said. Yeah, like how to not suck at being a human, Sasuke said, which drew a chuckle from Naruto. Sakura shook her head but couldn't suppress a smile. Let's just get to it, she said. First things first, when someone's upset or in trouble, the first thing you need to do is empathize with them. You need to understand that they're probably in a bad place. The best way to go about this is to try and find out what's wrong. Try to get them to open up if you can. Or stalk them and break into their house in the night, Sasuke said with a bit of fire in his eyes. Sakura scratched her head. That's kind of extreme, she said. Shaking her head, she continued. Observation is key. Understanding how someone's feeling is the best way to getting them to open up to you. And a lesson we all could stand to remember is, if someone isn't willing to tell you what's on their heart, don't pry. Sometimes the best we can do is show someone love, and then stand at a distance until they need us. The person we're trying to help always has the decision of whether they want it or not. You really aren't following any of your own rules, are you? Sasuke said. Sakura grunted. Okay, fine. I'm not a very good teacher. I don't even know how to explain it, she said as her head lowered. I've never been able to teach anyone how to do anything. I feel so hopeless. Naruto's laughing face slowly turned into one of concern as he crawled forward. Hey, that's not true. You're a wonderful teacher. I just think you're trying to be too formal, Naruto said. The lesson doesn't have to be broken down into easy to follow steps. That's the only way I can do it. Naruto shook his head. No, it's not. You've taught me plenty since we met. Remember when you helped me understand math? You were a wonderful teacher there. Why don't you just do what you did there? What did I do there? Sakura asked. Naruto spoke. You drew out tests and asked me to solve the problems with all the tricks you had already shown me. It wasn't perfect, but I improved enough to pass. Sakura smiled and looked up at him. And it seems that method still works. Naruto was confused, but Sasuke picked up on it quickly. She pretended to feel vulnerable to make you try and help her, and you did. Your instincts are a lot better than you give them credit for, Naruto. I think that the issue is that you try too hard. In a way, you're being like Rock Lee. You're too busy trying to be me, and you forget that you should just be yourself. You know what you need, and because of that, it should be easy to find what Lee needs if you put yourself in his shoes. You just gotta understand how to gauge emotions. That's why empathizing is so important. Understand how someone might feel at any given moment, and then use that knowledge to figure out what your best course of action is. It's super simple. All it asks is for you to open your heart, set yourself aside, and focus entirely on the other with an open mind. If they snap at you, don't get mad back. Be understanding. A lot of people can get aggressive if they're scared, hurt, mistrusting. Anger is a defense mechanism, and a lot of people turn toward it when they feel vulnerable, particularly boys. It's just baked into them. And knowing how volatile emotions can be, including your own, you gotta maintain control, Naruto said as he finished the sentence. Sakura was surprised that he got that. Yes, that was brilliant, Naruto. How did you... I thought about what Sasuke had said yesterday, about fighting, how important emotions are, and their control. But that works for a lot of other things too, not just in combat, but in caring for others. Sakura nodded. Yes, it can be hard sometimes, but maintaining control is the key to helping others. Sometimes when someone's falling apart, they need a rock to grab onto, something strong. And if you can keep control of your emotions, you can help someone else regain control too, and then help them find the root cause. It makes so much sense, Naruto said. Sakura nodded. But the most important thing of all to remember is love. Be genuine in your care for someone else. Don't be afraid to bare your own heart. Try to remain in control, but let them into your heart. Connect on a deeper level emotionally, and you'll be surprised with how easy it is to understand. Sakura pushed her hair from her face. Honestly, it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to teach. And sometimes I feel like I might be one reason why the world is the way it is. I'm not a therapist, so I can't really help others that way, but I can tell you that communication, caring, and control are 3 powerful keys to helping people. But there are so many other factors. Sometimes the best advice I can give is to just go with your own heart. When you're in the moment, you'll know what to do. Naruto nodded. And so they spent a little more time together, doing their homework and even playing a few video games to wind down. And then, after this, Naruto and Sasuke left. As they walked home together, it was kind of silent. Sasuke then spoke. "That Sakura girl sure is something else," he said. "I've never seen anyone so passionate about helping others, making the world a better place. She gives me hope." "Hope?" Naruto asked. Sasuke nodded. "Hope that there still is good in the world, something unusual, supernatural, against human nature, something that wants us to understand a hidden meaning to life." Sasuke stopped. "I sound crazy." "No, you don't. I'm starting to feel like you're right. I feel it too. Something beyond the natural desires to be destructive. I feel like I want to create something, build something with others. I want to even make peace with Butch." Sasuke looked over. "I don't know about that. That seems a bit too far," Sasuke said. "Is it?" Naruto asked. "Listening to Sakura, I began to wonder, why is Butch so mean? Have you ever thought about that?" Sasuke shook his head. I guess I never did." As they reached a crossroads, they prepared to part ways. "You've given me something to think about. Anyway, good night." Sasuke then turned and began to walk toward the Uchiha clan compound. Naruto felt it welling up within. "Hey!" Sasuke turned around. "Yeah?" Naruto thought for a second. "Wanna stay over at my place tonight?" "Why?" Sasuke asked. Naruto shrugged. "We're always alone. Neither of us have anyone waiting for us at home. It'll be dark and lonely. Maybe if 2 people are lonely together, they'll be, I don't know, less lonely?" Sasuke ran that math in his head and decided it made sense. After the fun he had just had with Sakura, he was beginning to think that flooding it out with the depressing, haunting atmosphere of his old childhood home might ruin the mood. "Sure, we can stay over, I guess. Let me grab some clothes and I'll meet you at your place." Naruto smiled. "I'll get the console set up. We're gonna have a blast tonight." The next day, they went to school. Lee was there and even Butch showed up. This time, he showed up with a black eye. His old posse, kinda halfway turning on him, laughed. "What, that Sasuke kid deck you again?" "Shut up," Butch said, pushing the kids back in their seat, commanding authority once again. "For your information, Senjumart didn't put out a wet floor sign. But even with only one good eye, I could still whip both of your asses." As the school day dragged on, the heat of the school furnace kept everything warm. Nonetheless, Naruto could feel that his sinuses were starting to dry out. And with the afternoon calling for snowfall, he knew that this feeling would only persist. But thankfully, the day came to an end. They were all set to go their own way. Each one grabbed a jacket. Sakura spoke. "You 2 want to come back over tonight for something to eat?" Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other. "No, not tonight," Sasuke said. "Wish we could," Naruto replied, "but we have plans. Well, at least I do." "We'll see you later, Sakura," Sasuke said. The 2 of them went their own ways, leaving Sakura there alone. Despite that, she wasn't sad. In fact, she smiled as she watched them go. "You boys got this," she said. Naruto stepped outside into the snow. Despite how frigid it was, Lee was still out here by the pole. "No matter if it's rain," he shouted as he kicked the pole. "No matter if it's snow," he shouted as he kicked it again. "No matter if it's heat," kick. "No matter if it's cold," kick. "I will become stronger. No matter what," kick. Naruto watched for a few moments before Lee caught sight of him. He waved. "Oh, hey Naruto." Naruto walked over. "Hi, Rock. I just wondered, do you have a minute to talk?" Lee nodded. "Sure, what's up?" Naruto looked down and took a deep breath, remembering what Sakura had told him. Looking back up, he spoke. "I just wanted to apologize about how I came across at lunch yesterday. It's a good thing you have such determination." Lee smiled and offered a bow. "Thank you, Naruto." Naruto then spoke. "I do wonder though why I only ever see you working out here. I see you doing push-ups, sit-ups, even in the snow, without a jacket no less. But why don't you just melt the snow?" "Melt it?" Lee asked. Naruto nodded. Weaving hand signs, he called out, "Fire style, great fireball jutsu!" Releasing a flame from his mouth, he melted a hole in the snow. "Like that. Warm. I mean, it's wet, but snow's like that anyway." Lee seemed to look away. Naruto continued. "I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend you. I was just curious. Lee shook his head. It's fine. I just can't do that. Naruto's demeanor seemed to shift to a concerned curiosity, and his voice reflected that. Why not? I can't use ninjutsu. Naruto's shoulders dropped. He had heard that such a thing was possible. The very idea that Lee was in the academy now seemed ludicrous. But with this new piece of information, Naruto understood the conviction. Naruto understood everything that was Rock Lee. Is that why you train so hard? Lee nodded. Naruto thought about it and then spoke. That's so cool, actually. Lee looked up with confusion. Huh? Naruto began to smile. You train so hard to become a shinobi, even if you can't use ninjutsu. That's awesome. All of the other classmates call me crazy. They say I should just give up. Naruto's smile turned more melancholic, yet it remained on his face as a beacon of hope. Is it crazy? Yeah, but the most inspiring stories and the greatest accomplishments begin with a crazy feat, and one person crazy enough to attempt it. That's what all the best biographies are about. Lee didn't know what to say, so he just looked at Naruto, showing just how much Naruto's words knocked him off kilter. Naruto continued, drawing closer. So you're focusing on your physical strength, your taijutsu. You're going for a strength build, just like in that one game about the ring and the tarnished stuff. That's a smart way to do it. Don't waste level up points on useless stats, but maximize your best traits. Become a sweeper. Except a shinobi must have varied abilities, Lee said. Not exactly. There's Tokubetsu Jonin. Those guys, instead of being jacks of all trades and masters of none, they focus on one or two things and become so proficient in them that nobody can beat them. All you gotta do is find something impressive you can do that shows your dedication and your promise. If you do that, you'll become a great shinobi. Lee began to smile, his eyes lighting up with a certain glint. You really think so? Lee asked. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I do actually, but it's important not to push yourself too hard. If you ruin your body trying too hard, you won't ever be able to become a shinobi. Lee looked down. I know, you want to make progress, and you feel like you're not going anywhere. Lee nodded. You've just hit a wall. It happens to everyone. At points like this, it's best to stop and come up with a new plan. There is a way forward, you just gotta find it. There's a wise saying, work smarter, not harder. What it means is that you can accomplish the same things, or greater things, if you take the time to think about it instead of just pushing yourself. The conservation of strength is another skill shinobi need to know. So instead of just pushing ourselves to death, why don't we go to the library and start looking for books that'll help you figure out how to move forward? Lee, touched by the kindness of a boy who people in town had called Satan, began to wonder how such people could treat him that way, or how he could be so kind in the face of it. It was awe-inspiring, and it made him think. This is the way I want to be when I become a shinobi, Lee said in his heart. Naruto pat his back. Come on, let's go study. At about that time in the distance, watching, Might Guy smiled. I think I found my genin, he said. Kakashi, standing beside him, smiled as well. I think I found mine as well. Sasuke, on the other hand, was walking the town, following Butch at a distance. He followed Butch to an old residential area. This was pretty much the slums of Konoha, cheap housing for low-income families. But due to that, the Konoha police force seemed to steer clear, as crime rates were higher here. Desperate people, either just trying to live or looking for another fix, were continually robbing businesses. Crime had formed because of the cheap housing, and now the housing was only becoming cheaper due to the location that so many realtors like to mention when helping their clients find properties. Butch stopped and looked down at a piece of paper in his hands before turning up again. Looking to the side, he walked away from the area. Sasuke kept following him. I can't believe I'm doing this, he thought to himself. That Sakura Haruno is rubbing off on me. Following Butch further, he found him in a local park, sitting on a bench, just looking at that piece of paper. From the distance, he used his Sharingan to detect what it was the big bully was reading. It was a report card that looked like it had full Fs across the board. Butch seemed to run his fingers through his hair as he looked at it, letting it drop to the ground. Sasuke began to draw closer. Standing in front of him, he leaned down and lifted the report card up and looked at it, just as he'd thought. Complete flunking. Finally, Butch looked up to see Sasuke standing above him. What do you want? Butch asked. Come to finish the job? Fine by me, my life's over anyway. Sasuke looked at Butch for a moment before looking back down at the report card. Tell me, Butch, who really gave you that black eye? Butch was silent. Sasuke looked up toward the housing development nearby. Let me guess. Your father? Butch sighed, offering a sign that Sasuke was right. A silent moment passed before Butch spoke. "He doesn't mean to. Not really anyway." Sasuke simply listened. "He's stressed out. He's a disabled veteran. The money Konoha gives him isn't enough to cover housing and his own medical bills. He can't get hired because of his conditions. All of this mixed with his PTSD, he copes by drinking. And since I no longer have a mother to help pull her weight, it falls to me." Sasuke was silent, but in his head, he began to question the geek tax's purpose. "Of course, I'm just a stupid meathead. Between working so much, I never have enough time to study, so all I ever get is Fs. I've been held back once already. If it happens again, my father'll kill me. He says I'm gonna grow up to be a failure." Sasuke let out a sigh. He was starting to feel very, very bad for almost gouging out the kid's eye with a pencil. "You're stuck," Sasuke said. Butch nodded. "Not that it's any of your business. I'm just at the end of my rope. If he sees this card, he'll kill me. Maybe it's for the best that he does. I don't know how much more I can handle." Sasuke sighed again and sat down on the bench beside him. Sasuke sucked at showing emotion, but he felt that he had to do something, so he tried to speak, even if he didn't want to. "You know, sometimes the people who hurt us the most are the people we love," Sasuke said. "What would you know about it?" Butch said. Sasuke looked down at the card. "I see you got an F in history, so I'll forgive that remark." Butch looked at Sasuke. Sasuke spoke again. "I'm the last living Uchiha. Long story short, my brother killed everyone in my clan save me because I was too weak. Not even worth killing. That's why I hate a bully. Bullies flaunt their strength over the weak because they're too scared to pick on people their own size. And until today, I hated you too." Butch scowled. "I don't want your pity, pretty boy." Sasuke looked over. "I don't care what you want. I'll have pity on who I please and you'll just deal with it." Butch shook his head. "I'd kick your ass if I didn't know you'd kill me." "Some things just can't be solved that way," Sasuke said. "Trust me, I wish they could, but the only way that you can fix some things is with your brain instead of your brawn." "Too bad I don't have a brain," Butch said. Sasuke sighed. Taking out his wallet, he opened it up and pulled out $50. He handed it to Butch. Butch looked at it. "What's this?" Sasuke spoke. "It's a 50. Hopefully it'll be enough to excuse your report card. Consider it interest for the geek tax." Butch took it because he seemed to have no other choice. "I don't know what to do," he said. "My father expects more of me than I can provide." "Your father has his own problems, which aren't your problems. But that being said, you can't keep going like this. Let me ask, is your father an amicable man?" Butch thought. "He's generally a hard man, but he's only abusive when he drinks." Sasuke nodded. "Well, you can't keep going like this. That black eye is a line that should never be crossed. If your father can be reasoned with, you need to tell him the things you're telling me. Explain why you can't study well. Explain that you're trying." "I don't know if he'll go for it." Sasuke shook his head. "You need to be honest. Maybe he understands." "And if he doesn't, what do I do then?" Sasuke honestly wasn't cut out for something like this. What a first case, Sasuke thought within himself. If he doesn't, then I don't know. "Now you get what I'm going through," Butch said. To be honest, Sasuke did know what he would do, but it wasn't something he could tell Butch. Standing up, he pat Butch's back. "Listen, if you need someone to tutor you, try Sakura. She's an egghead. She helped Naruto pass math. If she can turn that dolt smart, then there's no brain too small. Try to work out more time off with your employer, and try your best to explain the situation to your father when he's more open to it. That's the best advice I can give you. And damn it, I hate sounding mushy, but if you ever need anything, give me a call, okay? My house isn't too far, and if you ever need a place to stay, come there. If you don't think your father can handle you, come to me. We'll figure it out together." Butch nodded. Looking at the $50, he spoke. "Thanks." Sasuke looked over his shoulder for a moment. "You're welcome." As he began to walk away, he couldn't help but think about it. He'd been wrong about Butch. Butch was mean for a reason, it seemed. But all the same, Sasuke was learning a hard lesson. Sometimes there were problems you couldn't solve for people. Sometimes the best thing you could do was be there for them when they needed you. Still, Sasuke looked back. He knew that if this didn't work with Butch, and Butch's father continued down this path, there was only one thing he could do, and that was tell the Hokage. The Hokage would likely have to take measures to keep Butch safe from his father. Butch would likely never forgive Sasuke, but it seemed that this was all he could do about it. Sasuke's conscience wouldn't let him turn a blind eye and let Butch be killed by his father. Sasuke had seen many cases like this. An imperfect world where the last bastion of love, the family, was broken apart. Sasuke would not let Butch experience the same thing he himself had experienced with Itachi. but he simply hoped it wouldn't come to that. Butch made it to his own home and opened the door. "Dad, I'm home. I've got something I want to talk to you about." The door closed behind him. "Good luck, Butch," Sasuke said as he made his way home through the snow. "Good luck." And that's where I'm gonna call it. This story is a very special one. It's so real. These are the experiences of everyday people, of everyday school students. This is the reality of the world viewed through the lens of fantasy, and a lot of this stuff is hard for me to even explain. The situation with Butch is tragic, but it's a tragedy many children face every day, and I can't tell you how to fix that. I can't tell you how to act if someone you know is like that, other than being kind, warm, and understanding toward them, and telling someone that you trust what's happening, whether that be a parent or a teacher. It sucks that such things exist in this world, and sometimes the cries for help are subtle, but in the end, they are there, and we just have to be open enough to see them. Frankly, with so much pain in this world, it's hard to look at it and be happy. But after all, that's our calling in this world. This is one of the meanings of life, to love and to be loved, to care for one another. A song I love by the artist Stephen Curtis Chapman wraps it up perfectly in the song Kindness, as he says, "What if we lived with a heart of kindness? What if we loved as we've been loved? If that's all that we're remembered for, well, let that be enough." In so many ways, we see the world and think how much we want to change it. But changing the world is a big order, and it's rare that a single one of us can ever do it alone. But even if we can't change the whole world by ourselves, we can change the world of a single person. And if that continues to be passed on, then eventually, the match struck, the whole world will be set aflame with kindness and love. And in this modern era, I feel like that's what we need the most, you know? I hope you enjoyed the ending of this video series. It's one I've been hoping to make for quite some time, but never got around to. But now that it's finished, I hope that it makes you all very happy and blesses your hearts for years to come. If we, each of us, learn to look past ourselves and see the others in the world, how much happier would this world be? So set your sights as low as you do high, because sometimes the smallest steps make the deepest impressions. But I feel like I'm going on a bit too long, talking about the world, that is, and the one I'd like to see. But anyway, if you truly enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. Leave a comment down below to tell us what your favorite part was, and if you've yet to subscribe, be sure to do so. If you do, you get the option to ring the bell, which will let YouTube send you notifications when more videos like this drop. And until the next time we meet, check out these other videos. You might enjoy them. Peace out, Amagites. Peace out.